welcome to episode 30 of the Flame and Fiber podcast. My name is Barbara. You can find me on the internet under the name of Diva S, and that would be Instagram and Ravelry mostly. And we have a Ravelry group called the Flame and Fiber Podcast Ravelry group, which I would love for you to join. I would really like to welcome the new subscribers and new viewers who are just finding me recently. It was so nice to hear from some of you, and I'm really happy that you're checking out the podcast, and I hope you enjoy it. And a super wonderful thank you, welcome back to anyone who has seen the podcast before and has come back to check out this episode. I am thinking I'm going to be calling this episode the Canine episode. If things went as I hope, after I finish this recording, I'm going to hopefully be able to record a little piece with my new puppy, Pearl. We have a brand new puppy. We got her a week and a half ago. She's only 8.5 weeks old, and she's completely adorable. She's a German Shepherd puppy. We got her from the same breeder that we got our lovely Dasha, who is our old girl, who's almost 13. And Dasha's such a wonderful dog. We wanted to get a puppy while she was still around, and maybe the puppy would learn how to be such a wonderful dog like Dasha. So anyway, I'm hoping that I am able eventually to get some, a recording of Pearl, P-U-R-L, of course. I had picked that. It's my turn to pick a name for the new puppy. Dennis named Dasha. And so we had been talking about getting a puppy for years, and so I had picked the name Pearl. And then Laura of the Knit Girls got a dog recently in the last year, 6 months, 8 months. And she named her dog Pearl. I think her dog was actually named Pearl when she got her. She just changed the spelling of the word. So I seriously considered looking for a new name for my dog. Is that ridiculous? I'm in southeastern Pennsylvania. I don't even know Laura, although of course I feel like I know her because I watch her podcast. But she's in Mississippi. Really? We can't have the same dog name? And Anyway, so I thought I was being completely ridiculous, and when I mentioned it to Dennis, he gave me one of those looks like, are you crazy? So anyway, so our puppy's name is Pearl, even though she's pretty black right now. Although Dasha was pretty black when we got her as a puppy too, so it's very possible Pearl will lighten up and have a lot more tan. But anyway, she's adorable. She's in the biting stage, and I'm exhausted. I mean, it's ridiculous. I was planning on recording this podcast last night. Yesterday I was exhausted. Well, I hadn't slept well the night before, and Pearl just wore me out, and I thought, this is so sad. How ridiculous is this? And I know you guys are out there, you're working all day, you got kids, and here I am being worn out by a puppy. I don't remember being this tired with the puppy, although our first dog we got together, Sandy, was a lovely German Shepherd. Dennis loves German Shepherds, and since he was the dog person before me, we have been having German Shepherds, and of course they're wonderful dogs, smart and lovable and wonderful, so I highly recommend German Shepherds. But anyway, Sandy was our first dog together, and I was not a dog person when we got Sandy. And I can remember, I don't know, two weeks or less after we got her, I looked at Dennis and said, this is why I got my tubes tied. She was making me crazy. So I knew what I was getting into with this puppy, and she's really lovable, but she's in the biting stage, and those little puppy teeth, oh my gosh, they are sharp. Something about podcasting makes me cough. I am drinking in my normal red cup. It's morning. It's Monday morning, and I don't know the date. I put it at the beginning of the podcast. It's 21st, 20th, 22nd. Monday. And so this is my second cup of coffee, but it is cold. But I use an AeroPress for my coffee, and since I've started using the AeroPress, A-E-R-O press, anyway, I think I've talked about it before, even my cold coffee tastes delicious. So I don't even mind that it's not, hot anymore. All right. So anyway, I'm hoping to have some video of Pearl. If not, I've been putting pictures of her because, of course, I've been taking pictures of her. And she's really sweet. The only problem is the biting, and but she really loves to have a cuddle in the morning with me. And since I'm her caregiver in the morning, that's kind of fun. So that's pretty lovely. But this is a knitting podcast. And sometimes spinning, but my spinning wheel is currently on top of the table because she's chewing things, and she cannot reach the top of that table. So I guess I'm going to be moving it up into my craft room. I keep it downstairs because I don't actually craft in my craft room, except when I'm making stitch markers. Because my crafting is mostly knitting and spinning, and I do that downstairs in front of the TV or in the living room. So. But I may end up doing some spinning in my craft room because I don't want the spinning wheel sitting around in the living room while she's still at the chewing stage, which will be quite a while. So no spinning today, but I have been knitting since I saw you last. I finished my fade. I'm so excited. This is where... See, now I put this on, but it was my first time, and I didn't do a great job, so I'm taking it off anyways to show you. I'm messing up my hair. So, there's no right or wrong. This is where I was last time. I had just gotten to the place where I needed to add my 6th color. And I had changed my mind about the 6th color. I had originally thought this was going to be my 6th color to try to pick up the oranges that were, because this has a little bit of orange, burnt orange, and this has a little bit of burnt orange, but I decided I wanted to continue with the green theme because it was the greens that took this yarn, which is the Highland Handmaid's Sour Grapes in the, I think it's red maple base, which is very flowy. It's got bamboo. And this is Footsie by Woolenvine in the Stellar Banshee color. And the greens are what made those, the greens and purples are what made those go together. And I really wanted to stay with the green. So I stopped there and went to Randall Sheep and Wool a couple weeks ago, which I talked about in the last podcast. And I got this Bijou Spun Lassa Wilderness from Bijou Basin Farms. And this is 75% yak and 25% bamboo. And the color was... It doesn't say what the color was. Nope. This is the color. Doesn't need a name. And I just fell in love with that color. Now, the put up of this yarn is only 250 yards. It's 2.7 ounces. And when I bought this yarn, I thought I was going to be buying a 7th color too. And so I thought that would be enough yarn for the 6th color. And I got to tell you, every minute knitting with that yarn was pure joy. And I was just so aware the whole time I was knitting it how wonderful this yarn feels. 75% yak, 25% bamboo. Oh, if I could afford it, I'd buy a whole sweater's worth and make myself a sweater. I mean, it was just a joy to knit with. So if you have the opportunity to knit with it, I would do it because, oh my gosh, every second was a pure pleasure. So I had bought another green at Randall Sheep and Wool to be my 7th color. But once I got it home and looked at it closely, and I decided that I didn't actually care for it. I love the color and I love the yarn, but I didn't care for it as the 7th color. So what I decided to do was I had leftovers of 4 and 5, which are these two colors. And so I decided that I was just going to use the leftovers from those 2 colors, and I used every single inch of this yarn. every single inch. I did a Russian join. When I got to the end of that yarn, I did a Russian join and I just kept going. So I used every single inch. And what I did was I alternated, while I had this color, I alternated one row each. Once away and the other one went the other way and the other one went the other way. And it works fine with 3 because when you get to the end, you always have one you can go the other way. So that's what I did. I alternated these 3 as long as I had some of this yarn left. And I knit every single inch of it. And then I alternated the Stellar Banshee and the Sour Grapes. But the thing that I didn't understand, I had seen other people's fades, and they had, the last color was like a stripe on the end. And I hadn't read the pattern closely. Well, and actually the pattern wasn't that big of a help, I guess. But anyway, I got about this far, and then I thought, how does that last stripe actually work? Because of course I stopped counting and I stopped following the pattern because, you know, I was doing my own thing. And I'm like, how does that work? Because once these decreases end, how do you add a stripe like that? Well, you don't. It's the stripe is because you start doing your last color about here and you end up with a stripe. So I went to my one color toward the end, very toward the end when I finally figured it out because, hello, I don't understand. I have been having trouble figuring things out lately. I'm not worried yet, but it's annoying. So anyway, so my stripe, I did end up putting a little bit of a stripe, and it's just the very tail end of, and this is all I have left, of the Sour Grapes, and this is all I have left of the Stellar Banshee, which is the Woolen Vine yarn, and I have not 1 inch of the Bijou Basin left. And my fade is done. And I really like how that ended up. I think that turned out just lovely. And I'm really happy with the decision not to buy another skein of yarn and to just finish it up. I think it looks great. And so I'm very happy with it. So here it is. It's hard to show, as you know, because everybody else has tried to show theirs too. So here it is. It starts out gray and goes to lilac. Then it goes into the darker, and the gray is, it'll be in the show notes. I've said it a million times. Great Gray Owl. Madeline Tosh Light. Great Gray Owl. And this is I forget. This is Malabrigo. And then this is so here it is, gray, Stellar Banshee, Bijou Basin, and the combo. And I'm really, really happy with it. I have woven in the ends, but I haven't blocked it yet, so I still left a little bit in case I decide to block it. To tell you the truth, I'm considering not even bothering blocking it. The lace pattern is a very simple lace pattern. I don't think there's much to be gained. I don't necessarily want it bigger. It's nice and squishy now. It's a beautiful thing. I had fun knitting it. I got in the middle, it became a little bit of a slog, to tell you the truth. But once I got to that Bijou Basin, man, I was like, oh, in heaven. Oh. What a gorgeous yarn. So anyway, my fade is finished. I'm done fading. But in the end, I really did enjoy it. And it was a little bit, of course, by the end, it was easy. Although, I apparently cannot knit a simple lace pattern. This is the simplest lace pattern ever. I mean, seriously, yarn over, knit 2 together, knit 1, yarn over. Knit 2 together, knit 1, yarn over. I mean, seriously, you can't get more simple than that. And I have not one single lace panel on this shawl. That's correct. But it also doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So there we go. My fade is done. I'm so happy with it. But turns out I didn't even have to take it very far, but that's all right. So I finished my May socks. I did a Vanilla is the New Black heel on these socks, which I really like. It gives me a lot more room. The yarn is Regia Garden Effects, design line by Kristen Nichols. There she is. And the color number, I don't know, is 03301, I think. But I don't know the name of the yarn. But I really like the colors. Of course, Regia is 7525, which is not my favorite, but it's okay. I got to find myself a toe. Luckily, I have a pointy toe. You know, my big toe is bigger than my other toes, and so it fits me great, but it looks ridiculous. But I guess I really don't care how ridiculous it looks. It does fit. But I'm in the lookout for a toe I like. But I really like this heel, and it gives, you know, it's got a little interest in it, and it's a little bit of a roomy heel. And so I'm pretty happy with that. I did a 2x2 rib. I do a long tail, a very, very stretchy long tail cast on. When I cast on my socks, I did end up with a little bit of a hole. Tiny hole on the corner. So I need to, you know, tighten something up on my next socks. But so finished object number 2, and these are my May socks for my Grocery Girls sock bash and for my Naughty Knitwits socket. I won a prize on the Naughty Knitwits socket for April. Well, maybe it was for March. Must have been for April. Anyway, so that was fun. So I'm gonna keep posting, and so anyway, pretty happy with the socks. They're going to be nice and rugged. They'll, you know, they're not going to be super warm, but because they're 75% wool, not 80 or 90, but they'll probably last forever. And so that's a good thing. I'll have plenty of, you know, if it's not warm enough, I'll trade and put on warmer socks. Or maybe I'll make myself some slippers to put over them. I don't know. But I'll not be wearing my socks until Pearl stops biting my toes, let me tell you. And my third finished object is my tiny sock. I knit it real quick yesterday, which I knit out of the same yarn. And so I'm getting back to my correct size instead of that. That one didn't, pretty small. But anyway, so I made a sock to sort of memorialize my sock knitting this month. Relatively Crafty Podcast, Christy. It was her idea. I stole it. I have no problem stealing good ideas from podcasts. That's why we watch them, to get good ideas. So I stole one. So this is a tiny thing. We do have one knit along going on. It's a year-long knit along, Knit the Tiny Things, with the idea that we will end up, well, I want to have lots of tiny things at Christmas. For decorations, I want to do an advent calendar for my granddaughter with little knitted things in it. And some decorations and Christmas ornaments. We don't have a lot of Christmas ornaments on our tree, and I want to make some Christmas ornaments and some things like that. So that's why I wanted to have a knit tiny thing. So we have one thread in the Ravelry group, and it's a chatter thread with finished objects. And so put your things in there. I draw prizes quarterly, and so I'll be drawing a prize in June. Yeah, because I drew one in March, April, May, June. So we will have a prize drawing for tiny things. So, and I've been thinking, I really want to get back to making these tiny elves. This is not new. I made this before and you've probably seen it before, but I love these tiny elves. This is made on a champagne style cork. And it occurred to me, I mean, Dennis and I, Dennis is making wine these days. And he thinks he wants to make champagne. And he needs European style champagne bottles because that's the one he can get corks for and things like that. So we've been drinking cava so that he can have the bottles. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. So I am collecting quite a few. Where's my bag? I have a bag up here because the bowl got too full. I don't see it right now. The bowl, I got a bowl in the kitchen, and every time he opens a bottle of cava, he puts the cork in. So anyway, I'm collecting quite a few of these corks, and it occurred to me that some of you out there might be interested in doing this, and I've forgotten the name of the pattern. I'll put it down right there. And I don't remember if it's free or paid. I'll put that down there too. I have an idea it's a free pattern. Pretty sure it's a free pattern. But you might not have champagne corks. So if you would like some champagne corks, send me a message in Ravelry and with your address, and I will send you a couple of champagne corks, and you can make some little elves if you want. They also have a pattern for like a little angel or fairy or something, which is very cute. So if you are interested in making things for the tiny things knit along, and you would like to make something with a champagne cork, and you don't have one, let me know and I will send you one. So those are my finished objects. I am in the middle, actually I'm in the middle of only one thing. I have technically only one whip. I still have the February socks I haven't finished. They're downstairs because I didn't work on them. But what I do have is I am a member of the Shawl Society Part 2. And the first shawl is the Fairytale Shawl by Helen Stewart. And I have started this, and I'm telling you, I do not have apparently the brain power to do a simple, here it is, a simple lace pattern, because I have a lifeline right here on my last stitch, and I had to tear back to the lifeline and get my count again, because I could not make this last row of lace work. Couldn't make it work. I do not know what's with me. But anyway, I have this on a relatively small needle, so it'll be hard to show. But this is the Fairytale Shawl, and I'm making this out of Backyard Fiberworks. Backyard Fiberworks. I got this at Maryland Sheep and Wool. It is a merino, 80% merino, 20% silk. It's a beautiful, silky, yummy yarn. It's a 150 gram put up, and 600 yards. So I am making the large shawl, which in her pattern is designed for 2 colors, but I am just making it with 1 color. And this is the color. Oh, and the color is called Trading Post. And I am really loving how it's knitting up. And it's interesting because, you look on Instagram and people making, shawls, and you see a lot of people making shawls out of yarns variegated like this. And I've seen those shawls and I thought, oh, that's nice, but, I'm not sure about that. I don't know why, but I'm loving this. And this, I don't know, it's may have that little poof. Sometimes she gets a little poof at the top of her shawl. So we shall see. Maybe that'll block out. Maybe I'll have a poof. I don't care. So anyway, I'm really loving these colors. And I'm really enjoying knitting with this yarn. And I like the pattern. The only problem is I've done a lot of tinking back. I'm exactly 50%. I love the way she does her patterns. She tells you exactly how far you are. And there I am. And see all these notes? Because I'm like 2 stitches off, 1 stitch off. This is like the story of my knitting life. I don't know what's with me. But anyway, everything lines up. I mean, this one, it's easy to tell how it should line up. So everything lines up. I tore back to my lifeline. This is, and I put the lifeline in knowing that I had a mistake in my knitting. I lost it right here. The way the edge of this is done, I find it very hard to recover if you like drop a stitch and have to figure it out. Clearly I didn't do it correctly. Yeah, but I decided to leave that. I didn't want to tear it all the way back. You know, tearing back, and because I didn't have any lifeline, tearing back is not that easy because then you still have to deal with this stupid edge. So I decided that was fine. I wasn't going to worry about it. It was important to me that I get the lace right on this. Didn't bother me on the fade. I didn't need the lace to be right on the fade. But this one, everything has to line up. And so I was making sure that everything lined up. So now I have a lifeline. And I had to use it because I could not get the count right. I thought the count was right, but I couldn't get the lace right. And anyway, with a new puppy, I'm trying to do it while she's sleeping. But I put a note on my thing. I've got a lifeline there. I'm at 50%, and that check mark means my numbers are right. My numbers are right. So when I get a chance to start working on this again, I should be able to do that piece of lace. In theory. Oh, I just found my bag. See my bag yeah, I've got some regular wine. But look at all these elves. Look at all these little elves in the making. So if you want some of those, let me know. I'll be happy to send them to you. All right. My other, what I'm thinking of as a whip, but it's really approximate knitting, is in this lovely bag. Oh, I didn't show you my bag. My Helen Stewart is in my beautiful bag. This is from Nancy of the Round Rabbit podcast. She has a big cartel shop, and she does all kinds of beautiful bags. This is padded. It's gorgeous. I love the batik. Apparently, I love the batik. And this has a nice bright orange inside. And my next project is also in a beautiful bag with orange. I guess I'm on an orange kick. This is a beautiful batik fabric. I got this from Debbie Reese's Etsy shop. Her aunt made this, and they showed it on the Periscoping Sisters quite a while back now, month or two. And I saw it, and I just fell in love with it. So I bought it really quick. So this is from Debbie Reese and Amy Meek's aunt. And this is my proximate knitting because the only thing I've knit so far is my swatch. And this is this is the yarn that I got at Maryland Sheep and Wool. This is from the Natural Dye people. This is 65% superwash merino and 35% bamboo. And this was dyed with Osage orange. And it feels like a dream. And I love the way it's knitting up. And I love the sheen. And I am making... I didn't put my pattern in here. Well, I'll put a picture of it here. I am making the Cell Gris sweater. And I have shown you that pattern before because I was planning on making it with a different yarn. And then I changed my mind when I bought this yarn. I decided to make it with this yarn. So the Cell Gris, and I'm putting who it's by down there. So I have my yarn all caked up. I have my needle ready to go. I'm going to be using my Addy interchangeables. No. My high sharp interchangeables. for this, and I'm very excited. I've been feeling like I didn't have any brain power lately, and I just wanted some mindless knitting. And I finished my sock, and I hesitated to cast on a new sock, which is ridiculous because of this whole, doing it within the month and stuff. So I'm going to ignore that from now on, because it just makes me crazy to have sort of those external boundaries on my knitting, which was a little bit why I went to every 2 weeks on the podcast, because that was starting to feel like an external boundary on my knitting too. So I actually caked up a yarn, and I'm going to be starting it, even though I won't finish it in the month. But I wanted some mindless knitting, and that Cell Gris, and because I've shown you the picture, has this really interesting neckline, an asymmetrical neckline with some little bit of ribbing in it. And I looked at that and I thought, I do not have the energy to figure that out. Now I just want to knit. I just want to sit and knit. I want to be a stockinette zombie. I just want to sit and knit, and I don't want to think about anything. So I was rummaging, and for 2 days I'm rummaging and thinking, well, maybe I'll try to find another sweater that can be knit from the bottom up. So I can start the sweater, and maybe by the time I get to the armpits, So anyway, to make a long story short, I went out on Ravelry and I put in fingering weight, pullover style from the bottom in my search, so I could see what was out there. And now the Cell Gris isn't it from the bottom. I have no idea why I thought I had to start at the top. So anyway, I got really excited. So I knit up a swatch, and I washed it and blocked it last night. I think I'm going to be going with the size 4 needle. It says, it calls for a size. This is how I do my swatches. Maybe this isn't the right, usually I do a bigger swatch, but this is tiny stuff, and I wanted to start. So what I normally do, I don't usually get gauge with a pattern. I'm a looser knitter. No, on this I'm a tighter knitter. Anyway, I never get gauge. So I usually start by knitting part of my swatch with the recommended needle size to see what I end up with. And I don't know if you can see this, but I have 3 purl stitches right here. And that's my indicator to myself that I did this section on a size 3 needle. If I had done this on an 11, there would be 11 purl stitches across. So that's how I tell when I'm looking at my swatch later what was what. So I swatched for a while, and then I did a quick check on it and discovered that I was getting about 30 stitches to the inch, 30 stitches to the 4 inches, and the pattern called for 24. So in my foggy brain, I thought, I got to change it. So I went down. So this part, you can see my little 2 stitches, purl stitches. This part was knit on a size 2, which of course meant I got more than 30. I'm like, I'm such a dope. But anyway, I love the fabric that got too, but forget it. And so this part is knit on a size 4. And so I'm going to go with the size 4. I'm still getting 28 stitches to the 4 inches, and I'm supposed to be getting 24. So I'm going to be knitting a size bigger on the pattern, the next size up, because for my body measurements, I was, barely, I was like almost in between those 2 sizes. And so I think I'm going to knit, at least at the bottom, I'm going to knit the size bigger. I'm going to cast on for the size bigger, and that will compensate for the extra stitches I have. I'm getting 28. I should be getting 24. So it has me casting on for a size 40 to 42. I should be casting on 240 stitches, and oh, that's right, I forgot. I decided I was going to cast on 280 stitches. Well, the next size up is 290, so I guess I'm just going to go the next size up. Shouldn't be thinking about this exactly while I'm talking to you. But anyway, this isn't exactly a work in progress because all I've done is my swatch. But that's how I swatch. And so, especially if I have yarn. If I'm doing a swatch, not for anything in particular, but I just want to see how the yarn looks, I do this, and then I can go back to it later and see what it looks like with different needle sizes. Or if I have a lot of the yarn and I'm going to be doing more than one thing, you know, this is nice to keep a swatch like this. Like I did a big long swatch at one point with like sugar and spice cotton or whatever it's called, because I didn't know what I was going to want to do with it, and I just took out needles and I just did a big long swatch with all different needle sizes. So anyway, this is what I do if I'm not sure about needle size. And if you have to measure your swatch after it's blocked, if I did the 3 and then blocked it and waited to see if it worked, I'm too impatient for that. So I did them all at the same time. So now I know what they all look like blocked. And so I'm going to go with the 4. But I do like the fabric that they all got, to tell you the truth. And this is so yummy. So anyway, that is what I am going to be casting on today. When the something just fell. I don't know what it was. When the puppy is sleeping. So this is proximate knitting. My other proximate knitting is, well, I have quite a few acquisitions. Last podcast I showed you what I got at Maryland Sheep and Wool, but I had gotten a few things in the mail, and I've gotten a few things in the mail since then. And I'm in a couple of clubs, so I have a few things to show. And I'm trying not to be too embarrassed about my acquisitions. And I don't know why I feel like I should be embarrassed, but apparently I'm not doing that great and not being embarrassed, because I'm telling you I'm feeling a little embarrassed. But Saturday, my local yarn shop, which is Pearls of Wisdom in Kimberton, Pennsylvania, it's a lovely, lovely shop, was having a trunk show. And it was for Mountain Laurel Yarns, which is a local to me company. And they have an email address, but no website here. And I forgot to ask. And I don't think they have an online presence. But I got 2 different kinds of things from this trunk show. And the people, the women who were running it were Anne and Christina. And Anne, I think, does the dyed yarns, and Christina seemed to be more interested in the different breeds of natural yarn. So I got both. So I went there with the idea that I wanted to do a nice big squishy cowl. And I wanted to do one by Holly Callis. I'm putting her name down here because I'm not remembering her whole name, because she has a middle name too. And she did the Star Shower cowl. And so she has a couple, and I like that style of cowl where it's a little closer around the neck, and then it widens. You know, they do short rows and it widens out, and so it sits really nicely. Which is the same style as the letterpress that I did. So I've discovered I like that style of cowl. And so when I saw they were having this strong show, I thought, let me go and see if I can find some yarn for one of these cowls. Now, I walked around the shop with this yarn tucked in my shirt a little bit. Not grossly, but so it would stay, to try to decide if this was going to be too itchy for me. Now, this yarn is a cross between CVM and the sheep this is from is a cross between Icelandic and a CVM. CVM is California something mutant. CVM. What's the V? Anyway, I'm not sure. I'll put it down there. Ugh. I have puppy brain. So anyway, this is from Mountain Laurel Yarn, and this is from a Icelandic CVM crossed sheep, and it is 200 yards in 4 ounces. So I got 2 of them to make a cowl. And isn't this a beautiful kind of oatmeal-y color? It's looking a little green on my screen. It's not really green. Oh, Pearl's here. Are you going to be a good girl? Or are you going to be a rascal dog? Oh, Dennis got in the video a little bit. No biting. Pearl, say hi. Say hi. What's here? Oh, no biting me. Oh, you're so cute. All right, say hi to everybody. Yeah, there she is. All right, you're a rascal dog. Thank you, sweetie. And that was Dennis. And that was Pearl. Okay, so you're definitely getting a little bit of Pearl. Oh, no. Look at me. I guess she's been outside. She's pretty cute. She's so sweet, but oh my gosh, that biting. Oh, anyway. I forget what I was talking about. Oh, I was trying to get the color on. Oh, that looks pretty good. It's not at all green. It's a oatmeal-y color. So I was walking around with this yarn, and I can feel the yarn. And a year ago, I would have called this yarn itchy, and I wouldn't have bought it. I think I lost the tag. I would have called that yarn itchy, and I wouldn't have bought it. But I was walking around the store with this yarn, and I thought, oh, well. So I think maybe a lot of my itchy is in my mind, and now I'm thinking, oh, well, warm and squishy wool. So anyway, this is going to be a cowl, but not the Star Shower. I think it's some kind of berry. I'll put it down there. Is for this. It's also the same style of cowl, but it's for this weight of yarn, which she thought was not quite a worsted. The pattern calls for an Aran, and she thought this would go. But I could just do a swatch. I have plenty of yarn to do a swatch, and maybe I will. And I'll do a swatch before I decide which pattern, because I actually like the other pattern better in terms of the lace and everything. All right. So anyway, so that was from Christine. Things keep falling off my table, and I can't figure out what they are. It's driving me crazy. So then from Anne, who was the dyer, and she has sheep, and she has Tuna Sheep. So these were from her Tuna Sheep, and she told me the names of the sheep, which now I lost the paper because it must be on the floor. And it's 90% tunis and 10% nylon. Now this yarn is not scratchy. I ended up getting 3 different colors, and I was going to cast on the yellowy, orangey one. This yarn is not soft. It doesn't feel soft to the touch, but it also is not at all prickly. So that's interesting to me. It actually feels a lot like the linen sort of in the ball, you know, so it has a rough hand without being itchy. So, and I was a little concerned that it might be a little bit more like linen and not have much of a bounce, but it has a bounce. So I think that's going to work. So anyway, I am going to be casting on some socks very shortly. I am not going to wait till June 1st. I will have different socks for my Junes. But, you know, the Yarn Hoarder is having a free all the house elf sock thing, and knit along, and, you know, it'll qualify for my woolen vine, assuming I make them for myself, which I'm planning to. I have decided that the February socks that I haven't finished yet, my cup of tea that have been languishing, are going to be finished very soon. And I might finish them before I start this, so it's possible this will wait till June. Only because I've decided to finish those socks, and I'm going to make them my mother's size. When I went to visit her a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, she was wearing the socks I made her for her birthday. So I am going to give her a belated, I'm a terrible daughter, Mother's Day present, and give her another pair of socks. I think she will like them. So these were my acquisitions at the trunk show. And these just feel so interesting to me. I mean, you know, they're squishy, they're 90% wool, tunis. So I haven't looked up tunis yet in my book. So I will be looking up tunis. So that's very interesting to me, and very interesting feel. It is not soft, but it's squishy. And then these are very squishy and a little bit of a prickle, but I think it's going to be okay. And I suspect they said, and I believe them, that when you wash it, it softens up a little bit too, but it's pretty yummy yarn. So I'm excited about that. So those I got in person at the yarn shop, and while I was there I got a Leica, and I didn't packages downstairs because I made my tiny sock on these needles. I got some of the Leica, Lykke, the driftwood. I do that all the time. I got a size 1 on a 32-inch cord. Now I would normally get a 40-inch cord. They didn't have 40-inch, so I got the 32 because I have been thinking upon occasion that the 40-inch might be a tad long sometimes, and so I thought, well, it's an opportunity to try. So I will cast on, I did my tiny sock on these needles, and that worked out great, and so I thought I would try them out with big socks, 2 at a time, and see what I think about the 32-inch cord. Oh, I did bring it. Here it is. Oops, it's got the price on it. I paid $8, if you were wondering. But it's also covering the knee. There. So I got a 32-inch US 1. And I'm also thinking about trying to knit my socks on a 0. I don't know. I've never knit socks on a 0. I don't know why I'm thinking about doing that. I'm not unhappy with how my socks are coming out. Just exploring, I guess. So anyway, that's what I got at the yarn shop. Now, I also am in 2 yarn clubs that I get, 2 sock yarn clubs. And my yarn box socks came, and I didn't even look at the pattern. So I have a pattern from Pam Slitter called Early Bloom. That's all I know about it. But I didn't even look it up yet, because they always do a lovely thing with lots of lace, and you know, I kind of want my socks to be a little bit on the not think about. So my next socks, I'm going to do one of Luli's patterns. I bought Luli's Simple Sock collection of 4 patterns, and I am going to make this out of and use one of those patterns. But I'm going to probably, she does a heel flap and gusset. I'm probably going to use the vanilla is the new black heel because I like that one. But I'm going to use her toe. I am not happy with my toes. Anyway, this is the yarn, and lo and behold, Backyard Fiberworks. And I had never heard of Backyard Fiberworks until I went to Maryland Sheep and Wool. And so I'm using Backyard Fiberworks yarn on my Fairy Hill shawl in the Shawl Society. So this is a beautiful yarn. This is called Meadow Light, the yarn, the base, and it's an 80-10-10 merino nylon cashmere. And the color is called Ox Blood. And I really like this yarn. Oh my gosh. So I think Backyard Fiberworks is a great find. I'm very excited about that. They do have a website, www.backyardfiberworks.com. And so I'm going to be checking them out when I'm in the market, although I have so much yarn. But this is gorgeous, and I am really loving the yarn I'm making my Fairy Hill shawl out of, and that's from them too. So this was fun. Although, you know, they often have people I've never heard of, but I heard of them. But they had probably already shipped me this by the time I heard of them, so that was funny. So my other sock yarn club is from the Crafty Toads. The ladies, Toad Hollow NJ is their company. The Crafty Toads is their podcast. And this month is Down the Rabbit Hole. And so this is a Alice in Wonderland. So I've got lots of lovely Alice in Wonderland stickers, which, you know, if you get packages from me, you might find stickers on them because those are so cute. And so it was, according to the letter we get, it was Helen's idea, sort of, this is what Alice sees as she's falling down the rabbit hole. And look at this gorgeous yarn. Girl, ladies, bravo. I love this month's yarn. It's a yummy, very light mint green with speckles and you know, she visioned all these lights as she was going down. She saw these different colors as passed as she falls down the rabbit hole. But I love this. I am so pleased with this yarn. I cannot tell you. And this is on the Drusilla base, which is an 80-20 superwash merino and nylon, and it's so soft and feels like a dream. I don't know. I don't think this is going to be socks. This is so beautiful, but it could be. It could be. What do you think? I don't know. So anyway, thank you, ladies. I love, love, love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. All the beautiful colors. So, home run, ladies. I really, really love this one. Oh, and there's a tea. And I ended up joining this other club. I saw this on Jacqueline Salem's Brooklyn Knit Folk. This is from Row 1, it's called. And then the Naughty Knitwits had them too. And Row 1, and it's a monthly minis. It's monthly minis from a dyer. Every month it's a different dyer. And you get, this one you get 20 minis, 5 grams each. And each one is marked with the name of the yarn. This one is called Randall Sheep. This one is called Frozen Sheep. And this one is called Sheeple Puff. So a lot of references to, I got Frozen references in here, and oh, look at the card. But lots of love. If you have any use for minis, that was fun. And this month is from the Laser Sheep yarn. And so there's Monsters Inc. That's what Randall Sheep is, a Monsters Inc. reference, Frozen reference, Disneyland, Harry Potter, Star Wars. All these have different references to pop culture. And from Laser Sheep yarn. And this is row 1. So anyway, that was fun. I liked my first month. And included in the package is a handwritten, addressed to me, thank you card. And a sheep. And this is Randall Sheep. Randall Sheep. And a little pin. So these must be from Laser, because this is the logo from Laser. Isn't that fun? And also included were 2 candies. Anyway, it was a lovely package. And all kinds of interesting yarns. And so I'm a little excited to see what I get next month, I'll tell you the truth. And that is not the only thing. I feel very lucky to have caught an update with Andre Sue Knits. And so I have a sock blank from Andre Sue Knits. Now, it's only because it's Andre Sue Knits, and it's beautiful. I love the colors. I guess I'm into that teal and gold, because that's what my shawl is too. So loving the colors, and but this is a single. This is a single. I usually get a double because I usually knit 2 at a time. And from a sock blank, you either have to cut the sock blank or unravel it if you're going to knit it 2 at a time, if you didn't get a 2 at a time sock blank. But and also it's 75-25, which is not my favorite. So, but I bought it anyway. I bought it anyway. And I'll tell you the truth, I didn't realize it was 75-25 till after I bought it and decided, oh well, it doesn't matter. Because you go out on those things and you don't have time to read the descriptions. Oops, little boo-boo. You just, you just buy it. You see something you like and you buy it quick before somebody buys it out from under you. So I thought that was beautiful. So I've always done my socks 2 at a time. I'm deathly afraid of second sock syndrome. And so but people have been enjoying doing knitting with 9-inch circulars. And I thought I would maybe like to try that, although I don't actually own any 9-inch circulars. But I know where to get some. So I thought maybe this would be a good thing to try, 9-inch circulars. Because if I'm doing 9-inch circulars, I'm doing them 1 at a time. And so that would work with this. So I may try that. And the last thing I have to show is when I came back from my vacation, I was, getting organized a little bit, and, and I literally thought one day, said, I do not need another project bag. And the next day, Lorelai Berto showed this bag on Instagram, and I was completely smitten. I think this is so adorable. This is she appliqued this owl on. Beautiful kind of matching fabric. And it's got really lovely inside. And I was like, I'm buying the bag. It's got pretty wooden beads on the ends of the pull tabs. And I have Waited to use it till I could show it to you, and I got it before my last podcast, but I was doing Maryland sheep and wool. So I have had it a long time, and I haven't had a chance to show you. I love it. So Lorelai Berto is actually a jewelry designer. She makes gorgeous, gorgeous jewelry. That's her day job. She makes jewelry. But she also makes project bags, and she has a podcast called Knits and Beads, which I really enjoy. She makes beautiful things. She's in the middle of doing the Hohi mystery shawl with wrap, which I'm getting FOMO, fear of missing out. I'm loving everybody's Hohi. I was in the middle of still my fade. I hadn't finished my fade, and I was like, do I really want to start something that's going to take 5 colors? And do I want a rectangular shawl? But it's such an interesting construction. I've been watching everybody, so who knows? I may end up casting that on. Oh, plus I was making, got the Shawl Society, so I had that to be making. I still have to finish, if I can finish that this month, I can get it into the Shawl Society knit along. And Kristen of Wonderland is having a Curious Handmade knit along, and that will qualify if I can finish it by the end of the month. So anyway, but the Hohis are looking so beautiful. Well, she's doing a Hohi. Looks gorgeous, but she knits lots of big things. She knits sweaters and big shawls, and I mean, I'm not sure I've ever seen her knit a sock. Maybe I have, but she doesn't, she's not showing us socks. So if you're looking for things besides a sock sometimes, check out her podcast. I really love her stuff, and I really enjoy her podcast, so I highly recommend it. And I love this bag, and I'm using it. I'm using it next. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe I have so much to show you. But I'm done. That's all I have. And if I can get another nice video with Pearl, I will, but I'll put in the pictures. And now I'll go give Dennis a break. And you got to see Dennis real quick. And Pearl, squirmy, bitey Pearl. But she's pretty cute. I guess that's how they survive that stage, just like kids. So anyway, I almost forgot. I'm terrible. I tried to write notes. No notes. It's been crazy, and it's ridiculous. I know it's ridiculous. We hit 300 subscribers. There were 301 subscribers when I checked this morning. Thank you for subscribing. I'm so excited. Dennis hears about every subscription. Oh, I got another subscriber. So I really do appreciate the subscriptions, I got to tell you. And so we're having a 300 subscription giveaway. And the big news is, the other reason I was going to why I'm calling this the Canine Edition, not only Pearl, but Dog Star Knits is donating. He made a special skein of yarn. He's calling it Flamin' Fiber, a special skein of yarn as a giveaway for the 300 subscriber giveaway. I'm so excited. He messaged me yesterday. It looks so beautiful. So I don't have it in my hands yet, but I'm so excited. So there will be a giveaway to celebrate 300 subscribers. And so if you're interested, and I will be showing you that skein. I'm sure I will have it next time, and I will show it to you then, but it's gorgeous. Gorgeous. And I will be, of course, putting in some stitch markers and other little things that I have around. But oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this yarn. So I'm going to open a thread if you have any interest in having the special Dog Star Knits Flamin' Fiber yarn. The prompt will be, if money were no object and time were no object and you had all the skills needed, what would you knit or crochet or be doing? What craft, what would you do if you could do anything, what would it be in the crafting world, in the making world? It doesn't have to be knitting or crochet. It could be anything. What would you make if you could make anything? If you had the time and the money and you could do it, what would it be? So I'm going to put that out. I'd love to hear your dream make, whatever that may be. And thank you so much to Jake. I'm so excited. Jake of Dog Star Knits. What a sweet guy. I met him, and I'm going to put that horrible selfie of me right here again. Ugh, I look so terrible, but he's a doll. And I can't wait to show you this yarn. And anyway, to celebrate 300 subscribers. Thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed. So to qualify for this prize, this giveaway, you have to be a subscriber and join the Ravelry group. And, well, you don't have to join the group if you don't want to, but we have a Ravelry group full of lovely people. But put a comment in the thread in the Ravelry group about what your dream making would be. And I would love to read those and see what people want to do. So anyway, I've been talking enough, and I've got to go give Dennis a break with the puppy because it's my turn. Oh gosh. Oh, we're so tired. And it's ridiculous. Everybody has more to do than we do. All we have is this puppy. She's not that big. But anyway, so have a wonderful couple of weeks. I'll be back in a couple of weeks, and I'm sure I'll have the yarn to show you for the giveaway. And I'm not sure when I will close that. I think I'll give you a chance to look at the yarn before I close it. So I don't want to close it before I podcast next time and then show the yarn. So so it may be 2 podcasts from now that I make the drawing. So I think I'll show you the yarn, and you can decide whether or not you are interested. I love it. I can't believe anybody wouldn't be interested. It's so wonderful. So anyway, I will see you in 2 weeks, and I hope you have lots and lots of time to do the crafting that brings you joy. Until I see you next time. Bye.